Hey, what's up, everybody? Time for another vlog, monologue, keeping the channel active, sort of, you know, just because I don't really have any video game stuff to do. I do need to do one of those yearly fitness videos, though. I need to do just like a health kind of checkup. Still no webcam. I guess I could use my iPad, but the quality is so bad. But I do need to do that sooner or later, before the year ends, I guess. Already getting to the end, but today I'm going to do something that, I don't really talk about much, but my time when and I use this very, very loosely, when I tried to be a model, right? And there's only bad stories, only weird stories, but thinking about it, I don't think I've actually really ever talked about it on YouTube, probably because there's not any good stories from it. But we'll talk about some of that. And this will be once after I had my health problems, because of course, before I had really gotten sick, I had gotten scouted for modeling stuff, multiple times. But unfortunately, as that story goes, I didn't take any of it seriously, because who expects to get sick when they are younger, obviously. And I had just found out that I was good at video games, and I was making money playing video games. And, I never really thought I was cool. So people thinking that I'm good looking and getting scouted for modeling when I was younger was still it blew my brain, right? And then, of course, not long after that, got sick, hair came out, radiation, all that kind of stuff. It took years for that to grow back. Then I was dying, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, skip ahead many, many years. Let's talk about when I actually, again, loosely, stories of when I tried to be a model. And so I want to say, and this is going to be a very all over the place and vague, because I can't even remember the exact years, but I'll give like a sort of a timeline. It was probably around 2015, 16, 17, something around there, right? My pictures were getting stolen a lot on the internet, and God, all that catfish stuff was going on, and I feel like I'm one of the few people that, my fakes became more known than me, right? And of course, part of the problem of that was that, I couldn't take probably advantage of it as much as I would have liked to, even if I wanted to, because, for a portion of that time, I actually basically couldn't walk on and off for 4 months as my health was taking a really big turn for the worse. But, I had, I was getting more attention. Like I was somehow kind of cool, quotation marks, at that time. Pictures getting stolen so much, and I was like the #1 rated guy in the world on this one website. You know what I mean? So I had somehow gotten a pretty high level of faking being cool. And, I had gotten myself in pretty good shape, right? And, when I was seeing all that, and again, I don't think I'm cool, but I was like, you know what, maybe I should actually try to make this modeling thing work again, because I didn't get to take advantage of it when I was younger. And so I remember, and again, this is vague because I'm kind of iffy on it exactly when one happened once, but I remember, so I started applying or trying to apply for some modeling companies kind of thing, right? And so I was like sending in pictures, and, I wasn't getting any response back. And eventually I was just like, well, let me email one of these companies, right? And, or maybe I emailed them, and then maybe I just called and I actually got, one of the workers, or I don't know what you'd call it, people that scouts or something. I don't know exactly what they're called at the modeling company, whatever she was. And she's like, oh, well, if we didn't accept your pictures on the internet, we don't want you. And she's like, but since I'm talking on the phone, send them to me in my email right now, and I'll look at them on the phone with you right now. And I sent my pictures to her, and she's like, wait, what? She's like, that's you? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, do you still look like that? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, that's you? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, come into my office. She's like, I want to see if this is really you, right? And so I came into the office, and she basically just hired me right away. And she's like, I don't know what happened. And she's like, I don't know. She was like, wow, you look really good. And so anyway, I got that, so the company sort of, they hire you, I guess, so to speak, right? And who knows, maybe they thought I was fake when I was originally sending in my pictures. And that didn't go very far, because I made a mistake pretty early on. I think it was It was something like a job for like Nordstrom or something like that. And, Nordstrom is, that's a pretty cool, right? And I basically kind of let out that, I have health problems. And they're like, oh shit. They're like, you have health problems? What do you mean? And so, long story short, that was, whoa, I didn't know you were sick. And they're like, oh, you're a liability with these kind of health problems. We can't have you doing this kind of stuff. So that didn't go anywhere. Big mistake, right? I'm honest to a fault, right? So I was like, oh, fuck, I shouldn't have done that. So, yeah, so that wasn't good. And, they had offered me a couple other jobs after that. But, I could see that they were like, we didn't know you were sick. You know what I mean? But that's just, honest to a fault. What are you going to do, right? And so then I had applied for this other modeling company to see if I could get some jobs from them. And I guess this is just what makes the stories even worth telling, because there was just so much shady shit with this company that I was getting jobs from. They would constantly be late with my checks. And, I wasn't doing anything crazy or anything like that. But, they'd be like, oh, we sent you your check. What do you mean? I'm like, I don't have the check. I'm like, oh, we sent it to you. Oh, maybe the address is wrong, blah, blah. So that kind of thing happened multiple times. You know what I mean? I'm like, dude, what is going on, dude? My address is not fucking changed. What is going on, right? There was also multiple sketchy sort of situations with them. Most interestingly, there was a couple like little competitions that they wanted me to enter, kind of like spur of the moment, actually, so to speak. And so one of them was, there was some kind of, modeling competition or something like that, right? And kind of like, not planning. I think I got told maybe like a week before. I don't know, even a week before. That might be kind of early, dude. I don't know. But anyway, so I basically showed up for the thing. And during the competition, man, the crowd was, they were really cheering for me like the most, right? And I was like, whoa, what's going on? Am I going to like win this thing? You know what I mean? And I think the prize was, I want to say it was a photo shoot, and then it was either $1,000 or $3,000. I think it wasn't any more than that, but still, man, $1,000 or $3,000, I think it was a photo shoot and a contract with like guaranteed money or something like that, whatever the case, right? And I was thinking, oh my God, I'm going to win this thing. And you got to remember, I don't actually think I'm that cool, right? You know what I mean? People, oh, Clayton's such a huge narcissist ego person, even though he's never acted like that. We're just insecure, so we want to believe he's like that, right? It's ridiculous, but. And I even remember my interview. My interview was something like you had to do like an interview at some point. And I think they're like, why do you think everybody should vote for you? And I said something, I was like, I wasn't going to enter this. I don't think I'm that cool, but if you think I'm that cool, you can vote for me and I can say thank you, but I'm not that cool and I'm sure everyone else is much cooler than me, right? I know a couple people did tell me, they're like, man, you shouldn't have said that because, it almost seems like because you were so much cooler than everybody, so to speak, they're like, hey, maybe that made you look bad or something. I don't know. But whatever the case, throughout the thing, people were cheering for me the most, right? So the competition is about to end and they're doing like, who's going to win first place, whatever. And this one guy wins, right? Who was not really getting cheered that much, right? And anyway, so I walk to the back and, the producer or whoever, I don't know what you'd call it. We call it like the producer or the host or something like that. She's just like, oh, Clayton, you did really good. You almost won. And I was like, oh, yeah. I was like, well, I just kind of entered on a whim because I was told to, by the company. So, whatever. And as I was leaving, though, multiple people came up to me in the crowd and they're like, dude, and they're like, hey, we were trying to vote for you and like our vote wouldn't go in. And, I didn't think much about it. I was like, oh, maybe the Wi-Fi was bad, something like that. But, I had a couple groups of people came up to me and said that, right? And then even when I was at the mall, you know what I mean? I had some people come up to me and I even had one couple come up to me and they're like, hey, were you at that modeling company? You were the blonde guy, right? At that competition last week or whatever the fuck it was, right? It was a couple weeks after the fact. And she's like, hey, I just want to let you know. She's like, my son used to work for that company and they scam people. And they're like, so don't even fucking worry about that. And I actually think she did swear. She was like being like kind of like, she was like very blunt lady. And she's like, don't worry about that. That thing was rigged. And I didn't think much about it, right? But then I had just going along with how the shadiness of this like company, so to speak. A few months later, I had a job with the company, and I had asked like the host, the producer, owner of the company, whatever you fucking want to call it, and I'm like, yeah. So how did it go with that one guy? And she's like, oh, and she basically admitted it to me too, which was fucked up, right? She's like, oh, Clayton, you know what? She's like, I'm so upset. We gave that guy the check for the money, and we gave him that free photo shoot, and then he didn't sign the contract, and he just took the money, and he took the free photo shoot, and he wouldn't sign the contract. I'm so disappointed. He's like, because, that was going to be really good for us, Clayton, because he owns his own gym, and there's going to be a lot of promotion for both of us. And so I was like, huh. Do you know what I mean? I was like, are you admitting this thing was rigged? And like I said, this is why I don't even have like a lot of good things to say about when the modeling stuff, right? There was another competition. I think it was the next year or something like that, maybe. And they had me enter again. And this thing was so fucking scammy, dude, right? We're in this competition and they pick a kid from the audience, right? You know what I mean? And so we get to the back and like, yeah, one lucky person, we're going to have him, he can model with everybody else. And the thing is, this is not some like huge fucking modeling company thing, whatever, right? It was like a small time thing, you know what I mean? But hey, you still want some money, whatever, right? And so we get to the back, dude, and I see this kid. This kid somehow has all his clothes already perfectly in the back already for him, right? And I'm like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? And I'm like, looking up, none of my clothes fit, right? And at one point we had to do this sportswear thing. And no joke, I did one of those things that people joke about, like you put a sock in your pants or some shit like that, dude, right? Because like I was like, dude, these clothes don't even fucking fit me, dude. They were so fucking tight. And I was like, you know what? I told him, I was like, I'm not only putting one sock, I'm putting like fucking 3 socks in this thing. And I looked at everybody, I was like, I don't give a fuck. This is retarded. I was like, this kid has his clothes in the back. I'm like, come on, what is going on with this thing, dude, right? And I remember I looked at them because before I put on like this is like a spandex thing. And I was like, dude, these spandex don't fit me. And they're like, oh, Clayton, don't worry about it. Just put it on. And I was like, whatever, dude. Triple sock in this shit. And I walked out, dude. It looked like I probably had a fucking 10-inch dick. No joke, dude. And the crowd was like laughing so bad. And they were like, oh my God, holy shit. Like, because there were girls in the crowd too. Like, I totally did it. I don't give a fuck. And I remember after that, like the lady, she's like, oh God, Clay, we didn't know. We'll never have you do that again. And I was like, whatever. You know what I mean? And I think you can see where this is going. Guess who won? The kid won the competition. And when I got home and I looked at this thing, afterwards, you know what I mean? And there were some other people too in the back that were like, dude, this is bullshit. Like some of the other guys were like, this is fucking bullshit. Come on, dude. The kid won. And when I looked up the kid is like a child actor. He's a known child. Well, I didn't know who the fuck he was. You know what I mean? A known child actor or some shit like that. And I'm like, man, this shit's so fucking scammy. And so I don't remember how many jobs I did for them. Like, a handful, whatever. Slow to pay, all that kind of stuff. I think if anyone's wondering, I think the funniest thing that ever happened to me is that one job, a girl came up to me and I think I've said this before because I had never gotten a compliment like this, well, this specific one. And she's like, oh my God, you got the blood of Jesus on you. And I was like, dude, I've never heard, that's a crazy compliment, dude. The blood of Jesus on you. Like she was getting excited. I've never heard that before. But anyway, so eventually, things were like kind of scammy. And, I'm sick, you know what I mean? Again, so I can't do a lot of stuff anyway. So like, I'll try to do this one, this, blah, blah. But eventually, so I don't know how long it was since I had worked for them. And eventually I was like, maybe I'll try to make some extra money off this thing. So I was like, hey, do you guys got like another job so I can make, I didn't make a lot. It'd be something like you'd work and maybe you'd get like 150, $200 for the day or something like that, which is, not nothing. I'll take $200 for a day's work or whatever, just walking around, standing up or some shit like that, right? And I was like, hey, you guys got any like shows coming up? I'd like to do some. And I got this email back from one of the, you know, again, not the boss lady, but one of the, again, I can't, my English is failing me. What would you call her? She works for the company, right? Whatever the fuck. It's just like, oh yeah, well, Clayton, we were really disappointed with what you did last time you were here, at that show like a couple months ago or some shit like that. And I was like, I wasn't at the show a couple months ago or whatever the fuck it was. And she's like, oh, you weren't? And she's like, oh, what about that show, a couple months before that? And I was like, I didn't do that show. And she's like, oh, and like this story's not gonna make any sense because it doesn't fucking make any sense, right? And she's like, oh well, well, there's a show, like a year ago, I mean now or something, and I think you were trying to have sex with all the girls, or whatever, where she phrased it. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And she's like, yeah, I've been sending you multiple emails. I can't believe your behavior of you trying to have like sex with everybody or something, or get with everybody. She's like, some of these girls are actually very young. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, what is going on? First you thought I did all these things at these shows that didn't even work. Now you're telling me you've been emailing me that there's no emails here. Now you're telling me it's about a show like a year ago. Like, what is going on? And she's like, oh yeah, well, I thought maybe, you were trying to get with every girl there. And I'm like, bro, what are you talking about right now? And I'm like, literally at the shows, I have actually apologized to the girls for not knowing their name. Like, no joke. I have literally, like, every conversation I've ever had with any girl that like worked at that company has been so absolutely mundane, and it has been so little that I could probably tell you every fucking conversation I've ever had. That's how little I've talked to anybody here. And I'm like, as a matter of fact, like I said, I've actually apologized to girls for not knowing their name. I actually apologized to a girl. I think I saw her at the mall. And, my hair's on my face, this long hair or whatever. I'm like, oh shit, sorry. I think I saw you, but, my hair's on my face. Don't take it personally. By all means, say something to me next time. Which is not even just for the girls. I've actually said that to a guy who I saw at Cheesecake Factory, and I was like, oh fuck, I was like, did I see you? And I'm like, I'm sorry, dude. And I'm like, sometimes I'm just walking around, and if you said something, it just in one ear out the other. Maybe I got my headphones in. So it's like, I've actually apologized to guys. So what the fuck do you think I did? Right? And she's like, well, I thought, and then she's like, okay, well, no, I mean, it wasn't the girls. I mean, oh, well, it was like the moms thought that maybe you wanted to have sex with all the girls. And I'm like, now it's the moms. Like first, she kept like switching her story. And I'm like, so what did the mom say? And she's like, okay, well, maybe it wasn't mine. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? I'm like, I don't know anything you're talking about not right now. And I'm like, what? So, I don't know what that was about. I've actually talked to other people about like, what that was about? And I had seen a girl at the mall who also worked, and she's like, yeah, she's like, oh, I didn't see you. I can't believe you weren't at that show. And I was like, yeah, well, apparently I got some weird email. There's some weird email exchange between me and so-and-so. And they were trying to say that I've been trying to get with girls, and then they're like, oh, the girls said I was trying to get with them, but then she said, oh no, it wasn't the girls, it was the mom, and they kept switching the story. And she's like, I don't even know what you're talking about. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know either. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ, like I barely even talk to you guys when I'm in the back. And I'm like, I've actually apologized to people because I don't know your fucking name. And she's like, yeah, that's weird. So I kind of took that as a, like I said, they were late for payments and all that kind of stuff. And I think that, especially because of after some of those shows that they were like, you could tell that they were rigged. And I was, I don't think I openly complained about it, but it was one of those things that when they told me what everything that happened, I was like, I kind of like gave them a look, maybe so to speak, or like, kind of thing. You know what I mean? It wasn't like I'm like, oh hey, good job, buddy, kind of thing. I was like, sure. You know what I mean? I don't know exactly, but it was pretty shady. I mean, the weirdest thing is too. I remember, and it could be because I have, for one, I definitely have had. There was this one job that this one older lady wanted me to work, and she kept switching the job. Excuse me. And first, the job was a half hour away, and then it ended up getting to be like 2 hours away, 2.5 hours away. And I'm like, or she was like, well, you know what? You can work with me though if you drive this far. And I'm like, what do you mean work with you? You know what I mean? You want me to drive? And I'm like, this job went from being a half hour away to now like 2 hours, 2.5 hours. I'm not driving 2.5 hours. She's like, oh, but I could give you extra money and you could work with me. And I was like, no. You know what I mean? So I kind of took that as, one of the older ladies liked me too. And I was like, oh God, come on, bro. Is this what's going on? I'm like, nah. I mean, do people even know I'm pretty open about what I like? I like lips, dude. I like nice big lips, right? You know what I mean? You gotta like, and I'm like, at least accuse me of something that looks like I might have tried. Although that's not to say that I want it like a fat lady or something with big lips, but I was like, come on, is this even remotely believable, dude? And I'm like trying to get with these girls. Give me I've actually apologized. I don't even know their fucking name. Like I can literally tell you the kind. And maybe who knows? Maybe I was. Who knows? Maybe I was too cold to some of the girls. Because I definitely know one of the girls was kind of one of those. She had talked to me, and it was one of those like kind of like one of those backwards kind of flirting things. One of the girls, she's like, oh yeah, or well, I mean, I don't know if I should say she flirted with me, but it was kind of, I got the vibe that she was letting me know that I could flirt with her. Does that make sense? She was just telling me how she gets all these followers on like Instagram, and she's like, oh, I can't believe these guys are flirting with me. Oh, I could tell this guy right here, he likes me. Oh, he wants to flirt with me. Oh, you know that guy? Yeah. Oh, he definitely likes me. You know what I mean? And she was like, yeah, so what I do is, I'll just like follow everybody, but then I'll unfollow them right immediately so they want me. And then I can keep their follows. And I'm not sure exactly how to explain, but it was kind of the vibe that this girl was like, she was qualifying herself to me, right? So to speak, right? And I'm just kind of like, yeah, you know what I mean? I don't know. I got all those vibes on it. But, yeah, dude. Um, and the only really weird thing, and God, I mean, I could show the messages even because I had messaged people about it because it was so weird. I remember after one show, I was we were helping to clean up or something after that, right? And of course, this could go along with the idea that maybe the mom or something, or moms, I don't know, moms liked me, or maybe one of the moms said something weird. Fucking, I don't know, dude. But I remember one day, me and one of the guys, we were helping to clean up or something like that, and so we're cleaning up, some of the girls' stuff too. You know what I mean? Just cleaning up dresses and putting them away or something like that. And while me and the guy were cleaning something up, one of the older ladies walked by me. One of the moms, or maybe it was one of the moms. Jesus, it's been so long ago. Older lady, where the fuck it was. And she's like, yeah, I just want you to know that we're watching you and we know what kind of guy you are. And, I'm like doing this. And I like look over to the guy and I look at him and his face is down. And then I like kind of like bring my head up. You can't see me because I don't have a webcam. And I'm looking over and I see this old lady walking by. And I'm like, I'm looking around. I was like, is anyone else around? Who the fuck was that for? Right. And I'm looking up. I was like, what was that about? Who was that for? It was like, that's how weird it was. And I looked at him and his head was down, right? And he's like, no, don't worry. It's about me. You know what I mean? I'm like, what do you mean about you? What's going on? He's like, no, I don't want to talk about it. Don't want to talk about it. And I was like, huh? You know what I mean? So I thought that was weird. And I had thought about that, and I messaged other people about that because I'd found out later that the guy was gay, right? You know what I mean? So I was like, because the way that she said it, and the fact that we were cleaning up, girl clothes or whatever the fuck, dresses or something, it made it seem, it was like the way she said it made it seem that she was like insinuating something, right? And I had only just started working there, I think it was. And then, I'd later found out the guy was gay, and I'm like, that's weird. And I'm like, well, she said it almost in a way that like, kind of like a perverted kind of way. That's kind of how I took it, maybe because of the situation where we were cleaning up girl dresses, And then later I found out the guy was gay, and I'm like, why would she say that to a guy who was gay? And it didn't even like click to me. And he stands by that it was about him. So I don't know if maybe she just doesn't like gay people. I don't know. I don't fucking know. But but then of course after all those weird emails that I got, I eventually got emails, and then she said that she had sent others I had never gotten. And that girl, she changed her story like, oh, I thought you were doing something. Oh no, it was the girls who thought you were doing something. Oh no, it was the mom. And so I was like, what the fuck are you fucking talking about, dude? So then I was thinking maybe one of the moms mad that I didn't give her any attention. You know what I mean? I don't know. Older ladies want to work with you. I don't fucking know. But yeah. So I had never done anything for them after that kind of shit happened, and I never like tried. I mean, just because I was like, if we ever saw each other in person, I was gonna, I'm a pretty blunt person. I'd be like, what the fuck were those emails you're sending me? You know what I mean? Are you trying to insinuate I did something? You fucking change your story multiple times. And I'm like, at least insinuate something that is even like remotely feasible. You're changing like, oh, is it this show? This show? No, not this show. I mean, this show. It's just like, I was like, I took it as, maybe a mom wanted me and I didn't pay them any attention. Something like that. But I took it as something else happened, and, I don't know. They're like, let's blame Clayton. We don't like paying Clayton. We're going to keep saying we lose his checks and take a long time to pay him and everything like that. So that's pretty much the stories I have from modeling, I guess. I mean, I've done, there's like little random shit I've done after that, but never for the companies, so to speak, that I spoke about. I've done a few things after that, but nothing too crazy. Not that stuff was crazy either, but yeah. Anyway, some people ask about those kind of weird stories, I guess. If you like the videos, like, sub, silly, comment, share, support the channel. One day I'll get a webcam again. I just don't know. Oh, God. I don't know. I don't want to buy. I see there's some webcams that are like $100, $120, but then it's like, if I'm going to get a webcam, shouldn't I just get one that's like better? Like, I see there's some better ones that are like $150, or God, I saw one for like $300, but do I want to spend that much money for $300? I see some people actually use like a fucking Canon thing, but that's a lot of money. I don't know. We'll see. One day I'll get a webcam again. The end.